Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Explore China Tanzur Zhonghua. In this video I'm going to introduce to you this book here, The China Study, which is the result of a large research exploring the relation and patterns between diet, lifestyle and diseases. And the most of the associations made in this book and the most findings point to the fact that people who consume the most animal-based products, animal-based food, are the ones who suffer the most chronic diseases. This book, The China Study, written by Colin Campbell and his son, is about the China Study, as you might have guessed. So what is the China Study? The China Study is a comprehensive study on diet and basically diseases and the mortality of these diseases in rural mainland China and Taiwan. So they went in 1983 to China and gathered a lot of samples, blood samples, urine samples. They examined the food in, I think it was 170 villages. They got these samples from 6,500 people, and in the most of the counties they went to, they tried to make sure that people who were living there lived there since they were born. So they had like the same patterns, these people. Further, Campbell is addressing the well-known issue that correlation does not mean causation. In the China Study, we will get 8,000 statistically significant correlations. So scientists can go further and analyze these correlations and can form some patterns. In this case, the scientists form patterns between different dietary habits and the diseases found in these subject people. Now, first of all, we can compare the average Chinese versus the average American dietary intake. And we can see that the calories of the average rural Chinese person is much greater than the American ones. And this has two reasons, basically. The first reason is that the rural Chinese is much more physically active, therefore burns more calories and needs more calories. The second reason is that in a diet which is composed more of carbohydrates rather than higher levels of fat or protein, in this sort of high carb diet, people use more energy for body heat. It will be transformed into body heat rather than body fat, as in a high protein, high fat diet. Another large difference we can see in the protein intake. What we can see is that the American average protein intake is bigger than the Chinese one. An average American consumes like 15 to 16% of their calories from protein, while the Chinese is only around 9 to 10% from protein. And the protein the American consumes is around 80% from animal produce, while in China this number is only around 10%. Earlier in the book, what information I'm not putting in here because it would be too much. I'm just reporting the concise information regarding China. The author, because the book is so thick, is compiling a lot of information regarding cancer and different diseases, diabetes, etc., and the causation of them. And he links many studies, his own studies from different researchers from different universities in different countries, animal studies and studies on humans. And he found that lower amounts of protein consumption can reduce initiation of cancer, and as well as if exceeding amounts of protein, they can speed up the cancer promotion. So now the next natural step is to analyze or to try to find reasoning and an explanation of what does a higher protein consumption mean. And we can have a further look at different data where we see that in China, within also the different parts which were analyzed, we can see that we have different rates of cancer where in one region they are 100 times higher than within other regions. And this points to the finding that regions who have higher cancer are usually also the ones who consume more animal-based protein food. Besides, we know that consuming higher amounts of animal protein can lead to higher cholesterol levels in our blood. And cholesterol can lead to, higher amounts of cholesterol can lead to increasing risk of heart disease. And if we now look at cholesterol levels within the average Chinese rural man and American man, we find that this cholesterol level in the American is almost 2 times as high as in the Chinese. And following to this, the average amount of coronary heart disease in the US is almost 17 times higher than the one in China. And now we can have a look at fat. And another finding from the China study is that when reducing a fat intake from 24%, which is high, to only 6% of this calorie intake, then we can see that the risk of breast cancer is going down in women. And now to the last macronutrient, or the last nutrient, fiber. We can see that the Chinese on average is eating 3 times the amount of fiber, and we also know that an increased amount of fiber is decreasing the risk of colon and rectum cancer. In the end, all of these findings from the China study leads the author to suggest us to go with a whole food plant-based diet. That means to minimize animal products, animal protein, and to get the main protein and other macronutrients from whole foods, plant-based. And now I want to finish this video by saying that I was very happy to see and to read through this book because it's so comprehensive and insightful, a lot of information which I didn't know, but the main thing is that we can see here a good cooperation between China and the United States of America, and mutual learning. And I think it's exactly this what we need and which can enhance our life at both sides. And I would be very happy in the future to see more of these studies and publishings from Chinese and American authors. Goodbye.